All right, San Antonio, welcome to another episode of Live with Latin International. I'm your host, RJ. Today, we're honored to have the crew here for Hear No Evil. And we'll start off with writer, director, producer, Rob. And Rob, thank you for joining us. And can you introduce who you have with you today?
Yeah, sure. We have Blanca Gomez with us. Blanca plays Amanda Thompson in Hear No Evil. The lead character, she's a former final girl who is trying to reform a house full of serial killers. And Nicole Esperon. Nicole is an actress who plays Nurse Redwall, who is the nurse who works in this group home for serial killers.
Okay, welcome. Blanca, tell us a little bit about this character and this project that you're part of.
Well, she actually is what's called a final girl. So it's when you survive, like a person that's like trying to kill you, basically. And somewhere along the way, she has a bit of a side where she turned dark herself. I believe she turned dark herself. And so now she is trying to rehabilitate these characters that are insane and not the nicest, not at all safe. They're actually quite scary and dangerous. But she believes that she can show them the way to, to get along with people and not have to stalk and do so, not have to hurt them in any way.
So she could teach them to be members and not dismember them.
That is perfect.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
my job.
yes.
like
We
that.
have a cleanup crew if it happens, though. No. I mean, that's the thing. It's like with Rob's writing and everything. I think he's definitely going to play upon kind of making them more human, though, and understanding their point of view of they don't know any better. They only know how to dismember and which way. You know what I mean? And it's so. But she's like, no. Let's not do that. But of course. She's also asking, people, and it's televised, so she's really kind of wanting it as trying to commercialize it and to make some money, basically. I think she's just as
Yeah, she's completely delusional.
Yeah,
So she's decided
crazy.
that, after this experience, right, like she's a final girl, she survives the Camp Blackwood killer, and, gets this idea that she's going to start essentially a group home, a rehabilitation center for a bunch of serial killers. And it's really, all of the sort of Jasons and Freddys, and Michael Myers that we know from our favorite horror films. And it really doesn't go well for her or for anybody else. So that's kind of the premise, and it's a horror mockumentary. So it's, kind of like The Office, right? There's a documentary crew that's, following them around or following her around as she tries to
He's
make
a writer, so
this
it's like he can do the
nonprofit work.
whole like slew, basically. And then because the characters, she tends to each character very differently as well, and so it's going to be fun those dynamics. But she's kind of like she's the boss of them, yet she's like bossing them around like this because Amanda's like this small. Like, we can see.
And especially on our level, knowing who these characters are, as you said, to see them, at their worst, and then to be able to see someone who thinks, oh, I can boss these guys around.
Yeah.
On any other norm.
What am I doing?
Well, that's the whole thing is, like, Amanda has a couple of employees. Nurse Redwall is one of the employees. She's got Rudy Dunkelberger, who's like the night shift manager. They are all much more afraid of her than they are of the serial killers who are living in this house.
So tell us about your character and, the challenges and then the fun part of this.
So yes, I am Nurse Redwall. I work at the center. I am 50-something. I'm not going to say how old. Typecasting. Nurse who, I can't really get any other kind of job, so I'm here working for you, doing my thing. But I have fun. I have fun doing it. I like to taunt and tease some of the crew and some of the definitely fun. So challenges, I don't know. I know there's going to be more when we start doing this, which we are going to do this. It's probably going to be not going over the top because I could go a little over the top, as Rob knows. He's had the pleasure of being in a lot of his films, and I'm either a nice mom with kind of a little tweak to the dark side, or completely dark. So I think I'm kind of a little more dark this time. But I do theater. She does theater as well. We're theater people. And it's kind of like one of those things where I think a lot of us are theater people that Rob has worked with before. We just click. And when you're on stage, you have no time to think. You got to know what you're doing. You're going in, you know in your lines, and it's a one-take wonder, and you're done. But with film, like, you can kind of go back and kind of make it work.
I think knowing budget, knowing like the time frame too, in theater, because we are trained to actually like we're acting on the spot.
Yeah.
So we put that into like filming, as in like, well, only one or two takes, you know, like so that we're not taking advantage of that kind of like, and it's embedded in us to like know our lines and to you know, just to be ready.
It saves Rob time, so he loves that.
Yes.
But yeah, I've been on stage my whole life, and I've done some burlesque as well. So kind of bring in some of that burlesque-y, art of the tease, flirtatiousness into this character. You know, that's the way it should go. I mean, look at what I'm wearing.
I too have done some burlesque.
You too have done some burlesque. Yes, yes.
If we make it to our
Need to have you
our
on my
goal.
next show.
Nobody
Look me
wants
up.
to see that.
Natasha Pearl. We'll talk.
So, Rob, tell us, I see that there's a big campaign going on. Talk about the campaign for this film, for the movie, and then we'll backtrack again about picking your brain and the characters that are in it. But let people know, you know, one of the biggest things with Latin International, and they'll know that, you know, we've brought in other writers, directors, a lot of locals. So we support the local film industry. It's something I never realized how big it was until when I started Latin International almost 2 years ago. But I think it's important for people to understand that a lot of locals, people in the surrounding area, there's a lot of good talent, and there's a lot of, you know, creation out there. The goal is to get it seen and to get, you know, the films produced, to get them made and stuff. And this looks really, I see the trailer, I see the picture, Leatherface, all on the soul, and Hear No Evil, but it kind of like, the name takes me to, oh my God, it's a dark, scary movie. And horror is a big thing. You know, horror sells. But you kind of put a different spin on it. Explain that.
So it's definitely a horror comedy, right? And ultimately, it's about the laughs. It's not about the scares, but it is made for horror fans because this house they live in is just populated with all of these sort of horror icon characters. In terms of the campaign, so we're doing a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. You can search Hear No Evil. That's H-E-R-E, No Evil. Very important. But you know, we're looking to raise funds to make the film. It's not inexpensive to make a film, and you know, we want to make sure that the cast is fed. Like, that's really important, and actually is one of the most, you know, costly things in a film budget, right? But you've got to feed people. You know, we've got some really interesting horror characters, and so we've got some really cool makeup. Had a really talented makeup artist, Alyssa Moss, who did the character concepts for Saw Blade and the Ringmaster and some of our other, you know, horror characters. But you know, having that sort of talent raises the bar for the production and makes a difference. But you know, people don't work for free, right? Like, we want to make sure that people are compensated, you know, for their talents and their contributions. You know, actors, Blanca is in Austin, we're shooting in San Antonio, you know, like, just gas alone is an expense. And, you know, so we want to do our best to make sure that people are compensated as best we can, you know, for participating in the film. It's not about me. It's not about me making money. Like everything that we raised through the crowdfunding campaign is going into the making of this film. So,
And let's talk about that real quick for people to know. So people go to the crowdfunding. What is it that they can expect to get out of that? Let's also talk about the concept of, let's say we can help you get to your goal. I know there's some unforeseen projections, but how long do you think it would take to be able to shoot this movie and get it out?
yeah, sure. One of the cool things about crowdfunding is the perks that are part of the campaign. And so, you know, you certainly can just make a donation if that's what you want to do. But the way that our crowdfunding campaign is set up, there are all these perks. So as an example, we have people who've purchased a virtual role in the film. You know, that means that we will record them on green screen, or, you know, they'll be on a computer monitor, but we will find a way to incorporate them into the production.
You can be in this.
I did another feature film, The Legend of El Chupacabra, came out last year. One of the funniest scenes in the film, at least one of my favorites, was one where we had multiple virtual roles, and you know, the people who purchased these perks to support the film also did a terrific job, and you know, were very funny. And so, you know, that's just one example of a perk. We've got one for actually creating your own serial killer and playing them in the film, which is pretty cool. You can actually be killed by one of the serial killers, so we'll find a way to write that in. You can have your name mentioned in the film. You can have your image in the film. You know, you can be an extra in the film. So there's a lot of ways to get involved and actually be a part of the production. And you don't even have to be here in San Antonio, but you can visit the set. You can, you know, go to the premiere. So anyway, go check out the perks. There's a lot of really cool stuff. A lot of great ways to support the film. And, you know, support the cast and the crew.
And I think that's what's important, because as we talked a little bit before we got started, is the film industry it's really booming on the local scene, but sometimes there's cliques and there's groups that just hover to themselves. But people that really want to support the local industry, they can be part of it. So like you said, it's very important that, you know, they can get a small role. They can tell people I was in a movie, I was in something, so they can help create it and also be part of it.
Yep.
And everyday people, if you've ever wanted or had ambitions to get in the movie business, you're not going to be the movie star of the star, but you can still have these prominent little roles. And I think that's important, because there's a lot of people that we see it, especially with streaming now and stuff, but sometimes we don't know where to go, and we think, oh, it's outside of our realm. And you guys make it possible to build a community of just everyday people, and starts with being able to support on the funding part. You know, I'd like to see if I can maybe help. I want to get fired by her. I just want to have that little fear of just that little lady just fired me. You know, just get fired out there. But so you made like a little trailer, you said, and stuff. So you have like a little teaser out there. Let's talk about making that. Tell me about it, the fun, the challenges, and obviously the movie's written, but you can add stuff to it based on what comes in here. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's written. There are things about it that will probably change over the next, you know, month and a half. You know, one of the things that was cool about the concept trailer, you know, I put out a casting call really for just a couple of roles, but there is an actor, his name is Sin Tero, who reached out and sent me his reel, and he did this clown character, like an evil clown, that was just fantastic. Yeah. And I, you know, was so impressed that I thought, this is somebody that I would like to have in this trailer, and I knew that he loved horror and was excited about it, and so I just wrote him into the trailer, and now I'm going and looking at the script, right, and figuring out how to incorporate
Right.
that character.
Because
So
he really did, just like he has this presence about him, and at first he was super quiet, like as he was getting all his makeup done, I remember. And we're like, he's awesome. He's actually super sweet, but and he also has his own page of, you know, like he's all about horror, and he wants to continue to build on that. But on set when we started filming, it was like
He just let loose.
there was just this energy, yeah, and he was letting him. The thing about Rob that he's really great with actors is like he brings it out of us. He brings it out of everyone because he just got there, you know, he hadn't seen anything, and then he just put on this incredible costume with this incredible makeup and his hat, and you know, and he was like, "Go for it!" And he was like, "Oh," you know, and then he just did, and I was like, like he got me, and then I was like, "Rob, where did you?" Where he was like, "Yeah, I know," like you know, it's just. It's really cool though to meet new people from like when we're used to, you know, we film with a lot of the same crew, and it's because they're just great, phenomenal, and we just meld and just, you know, but to see new people coming in and the same shared passion of like right on that level, it just changes the whole game on set, and of course I think it opens some other kind of like, I'm gonna see him again, you know. It's just the way that his character was, and he can put a mask on and be a completely different character completely. He has these voices, and I didn't know about it until he filmed that part when you go to the Indiegogo site. That wasn't anything to do with his character or anything. He did that for us, like for the, you know, just to try something.
yeah, he did a promo for Hear No Evil as a character he created, Larry the Clown. And so if you go to the Indiegogo campaign, you know, watch the video. That is Sintero, and he just, I think he described the character as being kind of a cross between the Crypt Keeper and Elvira. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong, but I think that's pretty much in the ballpark. But it's just this amazing, creepy clown, like really, really cool. So.
Yeah, he's yeah.
We all have a little Elvira in us, don't we?
Obviously.
Yes, obviously.
So let me ask you, Rob, where did you come up with this idea, this concept? And then how did you come to get this little nice mean lady to be
I love mockumentaries, like since Spinal Tap, you know, 25 years ago. I've always loved that sort of, you know, fake documentary format. I know. You know, The Office, Parks and Rec. I'm a huge What We Do in the Shadows fan. I love the horror genre. And so, like, I can't really say, like, exactly where it came from. And most of my ideas are, like, they're not there, and then suddenly, you know, they are, right? And some of them don't pan out, you know, but this was one that not only was I excited about writing it, but I also just knew kind of commercially, like a horror mockumentary about a bunch of, you know, horror characters who were, you know, trying to be reformed by a former final girl was something that people would want to watch. So, yeah. And then as far as Blanca, I don't know how many projects we've done together. At least five. I would say. But one of the early short films I did was called The Tuckering. It was about a serial killer who was too out of shape to actually catch and kill anyone.
Can I do part two?
Yeah.
He was like eating McDonald's or something. Like, I mean, he's just
Well, that's what I tell people. I said, Round is in shape, and then everyone goes to the gym. They're going to go work out. I said, I'm going to work out too. We're Jack in the Box. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. So she played a kind of a ditzy high school cheerleader type who is totally oblivious, you know, to the fact that she's being chased by a serial killer, and she was the final girl in that, you know, horror short film that I did. So that was the first time we worked together. Blanca is amazingly talented. I, could see, like, it was a pretty small scene in this film, but it was clear, like, she had great comedic instincts, and most of what I do is comedy. And so I wrote a short film called Second Impressions, kind of with her in mind, and that's about a woman who makes some bad life choices. And there is this.
So was it a reality show?
This.
Can I ask?
Right now, this was like it was a story basically about a girl that she's just a mess up. She just doesn't make the right decisions, and it's set in this kind of maybe futuristic place because there's this like liquid that you can kind of take, and it's like you can go back.
Yes, it'll take you back in time. But she uses her rent money to get this sketchy guy to get this serum for her, and he doesn't tell her that the money she had only was enough to go back like 10 minutes in time.
Yes.
So she has to kind of figure out like, okay, how can I use this, and we'll probably leave it at there. But,
Yeah.
But,
And that's
but
when I first met you both.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and then-
because that was my first film. with you.
Nicole played a
A
dominatrix.
dominatrix.
Yeah.
Yep. She played.
Seems to be a theme.
Actually, she was the
I
dominatrix.
know.
She was the dominatrix from the dealer that I got the vial from. So I knocked on the door and I was like, "What is going on here?" And then he's just like, "Well, you didn't call or knock,
And I'm
Jared-
Russian.
And
it's
Jared
very-
is so
makes it very
good
fun.
at playing this, like, because he's got this long hair, and with that long hair, you can make him any kind of character. You can make him kind of the rugged kind of cowboy, or you can make him kind of the greaser, And so it's just, he just played it perfectly, and he was just like,
Mhm.
and she was like hiding, I think, though,
I
from me or
was.
something. But I knew something was up. I think, right? I was like, something's, So yeah, it was.
That was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun.
That was our
project-
COVID project.
Oh, and yes,
COVID
it was
started the day
the day,
that it was
Yeah.
declared a pandemic, like the day we
like
started
the day
filming.
we started filming. So everyone's kind of like, should we be getting close to one another? Is this real? Should we put masks? But we were like, maybe it's not real,
Yeah.
And so we're filming it, and we're looking on our phones like while we're like cut, just like.
Okay, what's the latest?
Just gotta
How many people
find-
are infected? Are we gonna
Yeah.
die?
Yeah, and I was like, well, I'm gonna die during this film.
It's
Like, I'm
scary.
just like, this is it. But it was just, and it was a lot of fun. So I felt like it was such a hopeful, good thing to like end on before the next day being like, and everyone is inside because when you're done, no more toilet paper, and it's like time to make even better or worse life decisions because COVID changed everything. So it was that bonding of like we worked together during that time, and then we waited, and then things settled back in, and then we tried to film something, and then life happens, and then but throughout the time we just kept working, and then last year we competed in the 48-hour film festival for Austin, and he called me up because I was like, I'm ready, coach. He's like, let's do this again, let's film something. And it was such a fun project because he booked this, I don't know if you know about it, but it's like an old bowling alley
Herman and Sons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Downtown.
here.
Yeah.
And so we
Upstairs, right? Is it the bowling alley's upstairs? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it upstairs?
I think.
Yeah.
go
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You go in and it kind of,
Yeah.
the white building right there, yeah, okay.
And he cast Sean and I to play like these Californians. And they're like, and she's just this.
And you were, like, blonde then?
I was blonde, I had longer hair. Yeah, I know. Like my hair is like darker.
You've come to the dark side.
Okay, I've come to the
Welcome.
dark side. And it was just, I hadn't done anything in a while, and I think I was just like, he's gonna let me go with it, and so I just came up with all these fun quirks about her, and I was like, smile, and I made people like, because it's like a social media, and we want to buy the bowling alley, but little do we know, it's haunted. And at one point, there's an obvious thing that's like, like a creeper.
It's
Anyway,
called
so
Spare Me. You
there's
have to
a-
watch it. It's called Spare Me.
Spare Me.
Okay, we'll stop right there. Is it out?
Yes, it is.
It is out.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah, you
in
can
the,
watch
I think
it
it's in
on-
the crowdfunding
Plus,
on one of the projects.
Oh yeah, that's true. You could go to the
Yeah.
Indiegogo page and there's
At
some
the
additional
bottom,
videos.
There's
And
projects we've done.
at least the trailer for it is there. But YouTube, Vimeo, the movie's called Spare Me.
Spare
Maybe
Me.
search for 48-hour Spare Me
Awesome
and you
48.
should find it. Yeah.
Awesome.
And we took best film
Yes.
of the entire festival.
It
Like,
was
I mean,
amazing. Yeah.
we were, and she wrote the lyrics for this amazing song called "Spare Me," and came up with it like while we were filming that, because we have like 48 hours to film, edit, like
Yeah.
come up
Yeah.
with everything.
It
And
was-
so, you know, we were just go. So while we were eating like donuts and sandwiches, she was like, "What do you think about this? What do you think about this?" And she's like, "Monica, can I use your phone? We record it." And I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, we are just insane. When we're
insane.
filming
we are.
and when it's just
We get it done. We have the
get it done
energy.
because this is what our element
It is.
you
Yeah.
know. And Rob just paints this beautiful picture, and we're like,
His writing is just brilliant.
yeah, and his
Oh,
writing.
It is.
But he can write like 3 pages, 4 pages, and it's just, and even put like a sentence, and that sentence is all
So
you
much
need.
in it.
And-
Yeah.
It interprets what you're going to project and put out
Right,
there.
and what he
Yeah.
says, because one time he was like, "How do you know?" I was like, I just think that I get your right, like I get what you're going for,
You complete me.
and I just go for it. I
He
don't
does. He
doubt
completes
it.
all of
I
us.
don't doubt it. I think throughout time, if ever for actors, if you're watching this, like don't doubt your instincts. Like go for it, go big, because all they can say is, "Okay, bring it down, bring it back a little bit," you know. But it's important to be bold. It's important to make those risks, because I think that project and what we did was so different from the other ones that year because of those choices that we made. Those little, and she played in it. She was hilarious. She had this point where she
Yeah.
plays with a bowling ball hole, and, and like she's so fun and quirky, and she just makes it, yeah. And Mark, her husband, who played her husband, oh my god, we have
Mark, we know you're watching.
Mark,
Mark.
he's
I
watching.
love these completely
watching.
out of context statements.
I know.
She played with the bowling ball hole. Like nobody has any idea what that means.
I know.
But we want to go see
That's
it
why.
now.
That's
You
what they're
do.
enticing. It's an enticing
Well,
thing
let
to
me
ask.
tell you something about that shoot.
Oh, and it was
There's
nice.
no air conditioning.
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
bowling
I was
alley.
gonna say.
Zero.
Like
It was
so
so
hot.
hot.
It was June.
And I had like long hair
It was
at the time.
probably,
I'm dressed, thank goodness.
95 degrees in that bowling alley where
Yeah.
we were shooting.
Oh yeah.
It was miserable.
Thankfully, we were fed. We had lots of water, so we weren't malnourished. It was
Yeah.
just when we went in there, it was like, do I have sweat on my neck?
And
do
here I
have
was
sweat
in my
hair?
tracksuit. I'm
Yeah,
like, hey
I
Rob,
know.
what do you want me to wear for
She
this
was-
film? He's like, I
I
think
think
a tracksuit would be
that heavy
good.
wool
That wool
tracksuit
heavy
is
one.
good.
I was like,
Let's just say,
okay, great.
let's just
Sounds
say,
great.
at the end of the set, at the end of the night, we couldn't find her because she going off.
I literally
She was probably like,
overheated
"Make
and
it."
just like got heat sick. But it was at the end. We
I
got it
know,
all
it was at
done.
the end, thank
Thankfully.
goodness.
Yeah.
She was a trooper.
We
Yeah.
made the decision like, we should during the credits we should have this dance sequence, right? Like,
Yes,
wouldn't that be
yes,
cool?
wouldn't that be fun?
And it was really really cool.
But she was in
that
a
environment was not the
tracksuit.
place to be dancing.
dancing.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, Bianca, you brought up a very good point that I think is very crucial to local filmmaking and directors and producers and people like Rob is having that flexibility of knowing what you want, having the people around, but being able to, you're open to them interpreting the character a little bit, being all on the same page and opening it. I know that some of the others that we've talked to, some of them are, it's just kind of their vision. It's firm. The other ones are like, I know I can write, but the actor says, hey, I'm going to put a little few more on that sentence. I'm going to add this or this to make the character real. and they respect that and they look forward to that. And it sounds like that's kind of the team that you guys are too. And I think it's important because, as you mentioned, people out there that want to get started or looking for these little background roles and stuff like that, it's important to support writers and directors that even as an extra or something, if you say you're going to sit here, but if they can kind of give, and you're like, that's great. How important is that?
And it started on Backstage, on those actor sites that you get on that you don't think are like the major ones. That's how I met Rob, and we talked on the phone. I had to talk to him to kind of be like, I'm an actress. I want to be in your project.
But are you scary?
But are you good? Like, what do you do?
Are you an
and I was like,
expert?
and how do you convey, like, you'll see. I don't know, to have that. So it was also on Rob to like make those decisions to like, we're gonna go with it. We're gonna cast her, and I was very grateful for that. And I didn't know what to expect, and I think that was the really fun part about it, was that it surprised me because, and I could hear Rob laughing when I was so nervous on the set, like for my first stuff that I did, and he was kind of laughing, and I was like, oh, I think I'm, and so you kind of hear the feedback.
He
from
thinks
everyone,
I'm good.
too.
Hey,
Well,
Mikey,
then I'm like,
loves
I'm
it.
gonna go for it, and well, because there's just some things that like, comedy-wise, there was a character, and he was kind of like being mean to me. And if you think the instant you think, oh, what do you think? Well, maybe she's gonna cry, but funny. But instead of doing that, when he was being mean to me, I was like, oh, and I switched it, and I was like, I liked it, and they were like, what is
Totally
this?
unexpected.
Like, so
Yeah, that's taking that chance that you're
it
talking
was
about.
weird, yeah. And I
Making that
was like
choice.
this. I was like, keep insulting, and then I was like, yeah, like you really wanna, and so it was just.
He's saying all these horrible things
like,
to her, and
absolutely
she's
mean.
playing with his ear, and batting her eyelashes.
So,
Which is kind
So
of a
good.
metaphor too. I was being a little ironic too, because of
Just a
course,
little.
girls don't know. Like, he's just playing hard to get,
so let's talk about that, Rob. And you,
See you Monday.
when you see that, when you come in here, here's a script, everybody has their lines, and then you see, that the talent is taking it to a different level. But tell us behind the scenes of what you're thinking. Obviously, you enjoy it, you like it. Is that what you encourage out of your cast?
I think there are some actors that would say, no, he doesn't do that. This is what I say, like, I gotta have one take where you give it to me as it is on the page, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if I know that I have that, then we can play, right? And I trust the instincts of the actors that I work with, and like Blanca and Nicole and Sean and Jared and Mark, who are some of the other lead actors. We worked together multiple times. Like for this project, I have written the roles for them, and so I feel like I've kind of created that sandbox for them to go and play.
And I did on the first day of set. I asked him, I was like, okay, is this what you think of her, or is this what you think of her? Because one thing about actors is we are basically like the paint on this tapestry of like the color of the paint, you know what I mean? So I honor, and I'm all about honoring the director's vision. I mean, he wrote it, so I do honor the author, right? And so I did ask just in case, because I was like, this is what I think, but I want to know what the director like thinks.
You want to understand your leeway.
Right. The first of it, when I was first getting to know Rob, was when I was making, some trying things. But once we got closer, it's like, hey, Rob, what do you think about this? Or what level of this? And so it's a very quick kind of exchange. And then it's like, got it? And then we'll tweak it. And we'll be like, okay, and then he tweaks. And so we've got like a base of where we go.
Well, yeah, because there's got to be a balance on set
Yes,
too. Because
yes.
if you come in, you have a script, you already know her, you kind of understand, but others and first timers and other people behind, and they see, oh, well, she's changing this, and all of a sudden, there's a balance, and everybody thinks they can just kind of ad lib and change. So you got to kind of keep. some parameters there, but you got to be open to that. And that's what I find with you know, the local film production crews, the ones that are open to trust some of theirs, but again, the boundaries. As you said, this is what I have.
Right.
Let's see it this way, and then we can work on option B to C. But that's not everybody. You can't have every scene where everybody can tweak it and adjust it. So, you know, that's the challenge someone like you finds, and that's the comfort in working with people that you trust and you know. And that's what we're going to get out of Hear No Evil is it's a whole cast and crew that you've worked with, you said you wrote for. So therefore, tell the audience, what could they really, really expect out of this?
A lot of laughs, a lot of laughs. Like, you know, we have some really funny, talented people in this movie. And so,
Crazy
like,
talented. Different faceted, like, yeah, just, I mean, all walks of life. I feel like that was the thing about that set too when we filmed it on the weekend was like, there's just so many diverse people. And in the, has he seen the dance? Have you seen the dance scene?
In Spare Me?
Wow.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, which one? Oh, in Hear No Evil. Your dance
so,
scene.
so
Oh,
in,
yes.
in the trailer.
That's on Instagram and
teaser
Facebook.
trailer.
Blanca Gomez.
No,
Official.
No.
Blanca
no, I'm
Gomez.
saying I'm a dance fitness instructor and I've taught forever, but
In real life.
Rob incorporated in the script that I teach a dance fitness class to all of
It's
my
hilarious.
amazing people, and the
Monsters.
characters they're
Yeah.
they're aka monsters,
yeah.
clowns, you know, there were some guys that I didn't even expect that costume to come out, like it was creepy. And there was a girl just painted black, red, you know, in a priest costume, like, and she's just like dancing, you know, and they put me in this bright blue garb, 80s,
Oh, very
Headband.
jazzercise.
like lightning
Jane
bolt
Fonda.
Jane
earrings.
Fonda-esque.
Jane
Jane,
Fonda.
yeah.
Jane Fonda,
Definitely jazzercise, Jane Fonda.
Jazzercise. I had the.
I'm trying to think of the Jamie Lee Curtis movie
Yes.
where
Oh,
she's
yes.
Oh
an
yes.
aerobics instructor, but
Yeah.
yeah, with John Travolta.
And the whole time, the character from Tuckering, which is from that project where he's running, and the whole time I'm dancing, he's trying to
Finish the job.
he's trying to finish the job, and I am oblivious. And I'm like that. And he's just like, and, you know, and so it's just it's such a comical. It was so funny, and I got so much feedback from when I posted it as I posted it and I talked about it, and a lot of my students who are my students from Dance Fitness, you're so funny, you're so cute, oh my god, you're like dancing with these, you know.
And you know, I think that's what makes
So-
a brilliant writer and director that we have in Rob is that he knows us so well that he's able to bring elements from our real lives into this script.
So that
And
there's
it
a
allows
natural-
us to really flourish and be natural so that we're not like just acting, like we're kind of ourselves in a way,
In a
but
way.
we're delivering
Into it
his
in a
vision
different- yeah.
from the script.
Yeah.
And it makes it so great to work on set with these actors and with your script. I mean, your writing is hilarious. I mean, I'm not
And
just
there- and
like
there's-
placating you, but
What I love
there's
about
going to be
Rob
something
is-
for
You are
everybody
so
in this.
right. You know, of all the things that you've said today, that's the most
That
true.
is the all right. Good.
So let me ask you this, Rob. Obviously, this is going to be one heck of a movie with all these characters and all these people coming out. Is there a way that you can kind of pull a Stan Lee out of it and maybe you're a character in there? The crazy psycho director?
I have been in several of my own films. I haven't quite followed the, M. Night Shyamalan. Hitchcock, I think, was in every one of his films too. But yeah, that's certainly possible.
That's interesting.
In The Legend of El Chupacabra, I was in it. I think I did like 3 off-screen voices, really out of necessity, because I'm editing it and I realize like, oh, I need the girl's mom to be yelling something, from behind the door. So I'll record it and then I'll use audio software to
Right,
change the
change your
pitch.
voice,
And,
Oh,
That's really neat.
so yes, that's highly likely.
So maybe, guys, Go out there, support it. Maybe we create a category where you all vote to create a character for Rob to be in.
That would be a good
A
perk.
character, man.
That will not be the highlight of the film. But
Yeah, come on.
I appreciate it.
These guys can bring that out in you. I know they can.
Yes, we can.
So where are we in the process of the funding? How much time do we have left? Where are we towards our goal? Let's get ready to just drive people home to go support it. And then when do you plan to shoot, and when do you think it'll be a wrap? Let's just get everybody excited to want to be part of this project.
Well, guys, we're not where we need to be. We're trying to raise $25,000, which sounds like a lot, but for a feature film, that is not a big budget. But it will hopefully make sure that people are taken care of. We're close to $4,000. We've got a week left. So obviously a long way for us to go. You know, we will do everything we can to get this movie made, you know, regardless of the ultimate funding that we have. But we want to make it the best movie possible. And like right now where we're sitting, it's, you know, it just might not happen.
It's gonna be a challenge.
You know, we want to make sure that we give a lot of really talented people the opportunity to make something that people want to see. So.
And you need to buy some medical equipment that I need to use. just saying.
It's true.
Nurse
I
Rex
bought
needs
everything.
some equipment
But her equipment's
to
supposed
help the patients.
Props.
Okay.
Yes. Props cost money.
He's so like a director, like, and we're all in the world of it, and he has to correct us. It's so curious, like like.
So,
I love it.
Blanca, let's wrap with, we've heard where it comes from to get in there. Now, Blanca and Nicole, both of y'all, let people know, talk to them, bring them to this project.
I am grateful because, I've produced my own stuff before. So when it comes to crowdfunding, it is about constantly talking about it and pushing it and being persistent. And my family, my friends, my students, I'm grateful because a lot of people in my realm have donated, and surprisingly some that I never thought would. And I think the thing is one of the musicians that donated, he was like, of course, artists support artists. And then I have a coworker who's just in my 9-to-5 job or whatever, and he loves just movies in general. And so he's like, of course, I always want to support movie makers and, that whole thing. So I think if it's one thing, we are local. We're here in San Antonio. I'm in Austin. We're just trying to make people laugh. We're trying to bring a community and a family of when a group of people can just do something so great, but especially in this time of where we're at, it's still important to keep that faith that we can still laugh and we can still create these characters, and it's just, we don't know that this could be something at the beginning of something bigger. We're always thinking in that way, but it would just mean the world for us to be able to see what he has and what if we can bring that to life. Imagine what we could do with 48 hours. Look what we did with it. Imagine this feature. And so I'm just so excited for it and grateful for whoever. And even if it's just $5, which I keep saying $5, but it everything counts and it'll add up. It'll add up.
Yeah, and we know you have a choice when it comes to donating. And there are a lot of films and creative projects on Indiegogo. However, this is one that you really, really, really should and would love to donate to because it is freaking hilarious. Horror, comedy, I mean, come on, that's like a no-brainer. And awesome people like us and, Anyway, no. Sometimes creative people, when they put these campaigns out, you never know what you're going to get. And you feel like, I don't know if you feel like this, Rob, but I've done this before on Indiegogo. You feel like another number, like you're just lost in this abyss of all these projects. Like, what's going to make you stand out? And you're like, oh, we got to do the trailer. Oh, I got to say who I am. And Rob has done everything right. I mean, everything is out there in that campaign. The perks are awesome. I mean, you alluded to it earlier. We're probably going to have some other ones too. But give up maybe 1 coffee a month, you know? Do that $5. Or give up 4 coffees.
And
I'm not talking Starbucks, okay, because that's like $10 a coffee. But anyway, you know, whatever you can to just help support us. Because we really, really want to bring this to you. We want to bring it to you full on with all of the stuff that we talked about earlier, and make it even better than we can on a shoestring budget with the money that we have now. If we can get over that finish line, it would mean so much to us.
And I want to say one more thing. So I was debating. So during the pandemic, when the pandemic hit, we were going to work on that project as a feature film, and then I had a baby.
Braggers.
And but so I have a 3-year-old, and
So cute.
I will say Rob was a director who made a baby shower for me. Him
Amazing.
and his wife.
So
And
amazing.
then even after everything with the recovery and stuff, when I told him I was ready, I'm telling you, the way Hollywood is, the way that it is, there's always someone that will take your role. There's always someone that you can hire over.
True.
But Rob took my message and I said, I'm ready. And he worked it, like he gave me that opportunity again. And so don't think that major life things, especially becoming a mom and doing what you need to do. I mean, my brain didn't work for a while, and it still kind of misses things, like the last name of Amanda sometimes on Instagram. But no, it's just there's so many things that are going on. We're not just actors. Like I'm a co-parent of them. You know, we all have our jobs and parenting, and so this project is like, you know, it's so much more than just let's make a movie. It's like, this is a heart and soul. This is a lot of time from a pandemic to getting out of it. Mm-hmm. And we've survived that. It's like, what's next? Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted to say that because Rob is a phenomenal human. And I'm so very grateful for him.
Well said. Well, guys, and that's why, you know, I talked to Mark, we did an interview, and like I said, I've seen it on the Facebook and I try to share it. But one thing with Latin International is that, you know, we're here to tell everyone's story. Our simple concept is everyone has a story to tell. Mm-hmm. And the fact, like I said, somehow it became part of the magazine to where we got involved in being able to just what little we can of pushing the local film scene, of realizing and being an outlet so people could see how big it really is in San Antonio. A lot of actors and a lot of local productions. Everybody has their own little spin of what they do, and it's booming. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of choices, but you know what? It's just like any sports fan or anything else. You know, we can go to a Missions game, and then we can go to a UTSA game. We can go to a soccer game. So we have something that we can do, and Latin International is here to try to push some of that money to shift into the local film industry, and especially if you're willing to cast the community, if you're willing to make some little roles here and there. Who all does not want to be able to say, oh, when a movie comes out, to see themselves on a big screen for 15 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever. And not only that, I take the pride in telling, and I'll tell you directly, you know, you never know when you're going to find the next gem and, you know, the next golden person in a background role, and just an extra role. And as we mentioned earlier, the film industry in San Antonio is open to everybody. You might not have talent to be in front of the camera and say a line, but you can, you know, you might have talent on videography. You might have talent in lighting, gripping, sound. And so we can make a bigger community and give a lot of jobs to people in this industry. And this film really sounds exciting. It sounds fun. We're going to get ready to close. So we're asking you guys, please, Rob, tell them where they need to go one more time. Watch the trailers. Take your time, go look at it on Indigo, watch the trailers and read the perks and see what level you want to be involved in, and let's really pull together to help Hear No Evil come to the big screen.
Yeah, thank you. Hear No Evil, H-E-R-E, No Evil. Search on Indiegogo.com. That probably would be the fastest and easiest way. We've got a Facebook page, Hear No Evil. Follow us there, and you know, let's go on a filmmaking adventure together. It's a lot of fun. We've got some super talented people I would love to give them the opportunity to ply their craft and work together to make a funny film. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And if you donate and you watch the film, you'll be like, oh, I helped them. It'll make you feel good.
For $25, your name will be in the credits.
That's right. What a deal.
You never know, one of these characters might come to your house too, so you might hear
That's
some
what Amanda
evil.
would do. She would just no. I mean, think about that all the time. I'm like, gosh, if only we could, know.
Well, guys, thank you for coming out on a very, I know it's a Saturday afternoon and stuff, but thank you for joining us here at Live with Latin International, and we'll do everything we can to get everybody out there to get to your page and watch these characters, especially the little female general here. I want to see this little
She's a lot
boss.
of fun.
I still want to get fired by her. I don't know why. I just have that
I'm
fear.
fun too, just in a different way.
Okay, there. Well, then maybe Latin
Maybe that's a
International.
perk.
There you go.
It could be a perk.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, again, thank
We'll
you for
talk.
tuning in, guys, to another episode of Live with Latin International. Please, please, please support local filmmaking. Hear No Evil. Go check it out. You're not going to want to miss this film. Thank you again. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Art.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having us. Appreciate it.